Can I get a motion to open the Halifax Board of Health meeting for Wednesday, September 4th, 2024 at 6:37 p.m.?
So moved.
All in favor? Aye. Please note that this meeting is being recorded by Area 58 and can be viewed on YouTube. All right, disposal works permits, ratify agent's approval. 5153 Beechwood Road. Rob, anything going on there?
No, it's all reviewed and
Okay.
ready to ratify agent's approval.
All right, can I get a motion to approve 5153 Beechwood Road to ratify the agent's approval?
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
81 and 83 Beechwood.
They came in today, revisions are done, ratify agent's approval.
Great, can I get a motion to ratify agent's approval for 81 and 83 Beechwood Road?
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
265 Monpont Street, we're waiting for revisions. Continue to next meeting.
Yes, we will
Okay,
continue
because
that.
we're talking about 66, gotta keep them straight
Right.
here. Okay. All right, so that we will carry over to the next meeting as we are waiting for the revisions to come in. All right, what about 314 Plymouth Street?
Still waiting on revisions, that's the Starbucks property.
Okay, carry over to next meeting then. All right, we are going to skip over number 2. I'm sorry, gentlemen, we're just waiting for Pam before we can vote on that. Okay, Bob, mosquito update. What's going on?
Well, currently, as you can see all over the news, West Nile virus, Triple E, are around dusk to dawn, the key periods. Follow the course. No plan prepare. We've been putting out messaging since, I don't know, early May.
Okay.
So hopefully our residents now understand that. You know, there's no more aerial spraying going down, but we are getting West Nile primarily in the Halifax area.
So my only thought, discussion topic on this, other towns are requiring youth sports, which are picking up again, to be done by a certain time prior to dusk. I don't know, something.
So we could put out a recommendation, or we could put out an order, whichever way. If I was gonna play point counterpoint, all of our fields are in an area that's not highly mosquitoed
What about Summit Street?
compared to some of it. Well, so maybe that's the one that you target. And if they're not out playing in the field, being monitored, are they just gonna be in their backyard? So
something to
it's a
think about.
point
I know some other
counterpoint that you
towns-
guys can make a decision on, so.
I think Plymouth has done something similar.
Carver as well.
Yeah, Plymouth though, they really jumped the gun because they didn't even tell law enforcement that they put out a close at dawn, and it's something that you have to enforce. So, you know, the police were blindsided by it, and it was all of Plymouth. Whereas like right on the waterfront, you get the green gnats and the like no-see-ums and not mosquitoes. So it's tough to control, but
I would favor an advisory if we haven't already to make sure that they're in by or over by dusk, because
absolutely. And what
there
time's dusk?
that's a great
Just
question.
so I'm not ignorant.
That's
here.
I mean, now,
Because,
I don't know.
but
When the
exactly.
mosquitoes start coming out, okay, something to think about.
But I'd be
Two young
happy.
children in sports that are,
I have an advisory from Plymouth, East Bridgewater, a couple other towns,
okay,
and I'll just put it out to each person individually, and if I get a thumbs up, we'll go with it. And, you know, because, but happy to post it, happy to put it on our websites,
Yeah.
and then we just pray that people read the sign or
I think
follow
starting
the.
with an advisory is good. I worry about Summit. Summit is definitely the high mosquito.
I could see Summit being bad.
And how many cases do we have?
So how many mosquitoes
Of
have we had?
what?
Of
So
AAA.
actual bites or?
No.
Okay, so we have, go ahead.
So,
Name
please
and address.
Steve McFawn, 47 Indian Path Road. So I know you can have people come out and spray your house with that South Shore or something. Can we have the field sprayed once a week or something like that?
Not once a week, but
Once
they
a
have
month?
already been, yes, that's when they do them, every 4 to 6 weeks, and Plymouth County Mosquito Control does them for us, for free.
Okay, and there's no wetlands around there, correct?
Summit Street, yeah,
But down at these ones, I'm just afraid, having 2 kids in sports myself, I'm afraid that eventually if, you know, a decision is made where they have to end it, you're gonna take everybody out of sports, because
Oh, no,
you
not
can
to end
say,
it, not to end it, just
yeah,
to say
to
that,
been
you know.
advisement. Yeah, I'm just, some of these towns, it's like, who gets out of work at 3 o'clock when they could,
Oh, not me, I totally hear you. But I think that, you know, I know there was a horse that tested positive. Now mosquitoes in Halifax, you had positive mosquitoes, right?
yes.
Yeah,
No
Which
bites of people yet,
but mosquitoes.
but yes.
Okay. My inclination would just be to make sure there's an advisory that goes out so that people are aware that we have had mosquitoes in town that tested positive.
Absolutely.
Okay.
I agree.
where were they
I'm
found?
good
You on with that?
I'm good with that.
Where were they found? I never even heard that they were in Halifax.
So,
I heard
the-
another South Shore town, but it never listed.
Well, so they give you quadrants,
Okay.
okay?
We knew that.
Northeast. Which is up on the Hanson line, and the other one, which is always the hot spot. Geez, the end of Wood Street, Fuller Street, Middleborough, are where we've been getting, you know, the positive samples.
Okay.
So,
Thank you.
So as part of that advisory, Bob, could we make sure we send it to like Halifax Youth Soccer, Halifax Youth Baseball? I could get you the contact names for them and they can send it out to the coaches just to do our due diligence and make sure
Sure.
they know.
and I mean, I'll try to look at it, but each day, time's getting shorter.
Yeah, I know.
So I don't know how
No, I'm
long
totally with
sports
the
run
time thing
for,
because-
so if dusk today, you know, we put a ballpark figure of
7,
7:30,
yeah.
then we can say, well, next week, now it's gonna be
I don't even know that we need to put a
6:45,
time.
and
I
then,
would just say
Just
to be
make sure people are
mindful,
informed.
exactly, of dusk and
Okay.
when they start seeing mosquitoes, they should be. So I don't know if we need to put a time on it, I just.
and you know, with that, also, you know, so if you're going to soccer, you're going to, they have these very thin shirts that you can wear,
That's what I
long
think.
sleeve.
Yep.
You can spray yourself with off. So there's a bunch of preventative measures that if you happen to be out there, even if it's not dusk and a mosquito comes out,
Yeah.
that you,
All right, can we draft an email that has the advisory, the recommendations, and then I'll get you, I
Done.
have the contact for most of those things, if that's okay with you.
That's fine.
All right, can I get a motion to issue a EEE West Nile virus advisory to youth sports in the town?
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, great. Anything else on mosquitoes, Bob? Sorry, I just kind of took your,
no, I was happy to have that discussion because, you know,
Yeah, and then we'll just.
You can
just
either
that way we're giving
underreact or
everyone the
overreact.
advice, and then they, you know, can distribute it to the coaches and people are aware. Okay, excellent. All right, we'll do the bills and then hopefully Pam will be here soon. All right, can I get a motion to affirm the Public Health Excellence Grant account number 25-516-5430-189-FY25-05, 1 and 2 as listed.
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Can I get a motion to approve the Public Health Excellent Grant account number 25-516-5430-189-FY25-06?
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
The following to be approved, signed, and voted on. Can I get a motion to approve payroll for the week ending September 7th, 2024 for Robert Valerie, Margaret Selter, Patricia Sanda, Brian Kling, Robert Bucher, and Cindy Metro?
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Can I get a motion to approve the meeting minutes from the August 21st, 2024 meeting?
So moved.
All in favor? Aye. Can I get a motion to approve the revolving account number 25-513-FY25-04, Libby Engineering 1 and 2 as listed?
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Can I get a motion to approve the iPad gift account number 26514-4830-02-FY25-02 AT&T Mobile 1 and 2 as listed?
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Can I get a motion to approve the Public Health Excellent Grant account number 25-516-5430-189-FY25-071 as listed?
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Can I get a motion to approve the following permits with condition that all required documents are submitted to the Board of Health office? There's only one, New Generation Custom Homes, Marcelo Alves.
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. This brings us back to 266 North Congress Street.
Right. I mean, we can't vote until Pam gets here. And she might want to hear things, but both representatives are here. I mean, if there was just anything that,
I don't think
You
I
want
have
to
any
pass
further
by them.
questions. Yeah, I don't have any further questions. I don't know if she does.
and I know that 265, since you happen to both be here, we're waiting on revisions. Basically the same drip system. Okay. And some of our revisions have to do with the pool cabana area and the effect of that. And so that's a whole topic of discussion, but we're certainly looking at it from both sides here. But
Okay.
the basic septic system for the units is what we're gonna see with 266.
Stephen Bond, 47 Indian Path Road, Halifax. Is the GPD going to be under 10,000 gallons per day?
Yes,
So we don't, how, pretty far under, so we can't accidentally push it over? I mean, are we like at 9,999?
nope,
Okay,
but
9,998.
we're not at 6,000, Stephen, you know? It's getting close to the threshold.
So will that be monitored, and if we start noticing it's going over 10,000, could we end up having to have a sewer treatment plant brought in? Is that?
I can take that one.
Yes,
So,
Sorry,
Ty.
can you just state your name? Sorry.
Sorry.
That's okay.
I'll go up to the chair.
yeah.
David
You can turn
Easter's Thorndike Development. So in terms of monitoring actual flow, so the actual flow that you get from your sewer is a small fraction of actually what the system is designed for. So often you're gonna
Theoretically.
get 50, 60%, of actual flow. And if you look at like kind of per capita water consumption, in town, in Halifax, it's, I think it's in the 40-something gallons per day per person. So it's hard to actually get flows close to the Title V. The Title V flows are designed with a buffer kind of built in. So it's difficult to monitor actual flow and compare it to a Title V calculation.
So the way I used to do it, pulling water records, and I found just the opposite. I've had a lot of systems over the years go into premature failure due to them being under-designed. Especially nowadays, 3-bedroom systems at 330 a day. Now you're talking, 110 gallons a day per bedroom. It just doesn't work anymore. So that's why I was curious.
Yeah.
We have a lot more things. I know Pembroke brought it up to 150 gallons a day. Hanover, I believe, for their leaching field is a minimum of 1,200 square feet. Different towns have made different adjustments, so I was just curious if there was a large buffer zone, or if we were trying to make it as tight as we could, so we didn't need a package plant.
And we've had communities, Red Mill Village and Norton, where due to the way that they allocate sewer rights.
Yeah.
So this wasn't on a septic, but it was, we did have to meter the outflow from the entire community because of, again, the way they allocate sewer rights for that I think it was a tri-town district, sewer district there. And so that's where I'm getting my data from. And that was an over 55 community as well.
Same buildings, right?
Actually larger buildings. So there would be a greater kind of, let's say, per unit population at its Red Mill Village in Norton as compared with here.
Yeah, I'm just curious
Yeah.
if 1 year in, if, you know.
Yeah, we were getting like 70 gallons per day per unit, which is
Well,
less than half.
Right. I'm just curious if, 1 year in, if there's going to be any study made to see if, if we're over that. I'm worried about, the town itself. I've seen too much. I'm not big on the whole presuming, I'm bigger is better. When I had my leaching field put in, I went larger. So I'm just curious if, what are they designing it on per gallons?
So
Per
it's, this is an over 55, so
Right.
it falls into a separate category. It's 150 gallons per day for a 2-bedroom unit.
Right.
It's for a 1-bedroom unit, it's 110 gallons per day. Yeah. So those are the Title V regs.
You're comfortable with all that?
Well,
From a Board of Health point,
We're not close enough on some of the infancy stages of the pool. Once we talk about the pool and where that effect is, certainly, if there was no pool and no, then you would have plenty of room in that system. Much different than, you were familiar a lot with the Twin Lakes.
right,
Well, it wasn't 55 and older,
right.
and you ended up with, one 5-unit building using almost no water. They weren't separately metered, and the next
Yeah,
building,
they were only
over
designed at 11.
15,000 gallons.
Well,
So
that's it. They had 10 bedrooms.
fluctuates, Steve.
They were designed at 1,100 gallons GPD per system, and I'm failing them out at 2,000 to 3,000 gallons a day used.
Yep,
So that's why I always err with the side of caution. But you're right. I had other ones that were used at 350. But so there's always.
yeah,
So it's why I always like to.
oh, no,
Yeah, on the side of
it's
caution.
certainly something that both John Delano, my design review engineer, and I have had some discussion on to see, okay, what's the worst case scenario, so to speak? Because our ability to communicate with JDE and Dave, and their transparency in what they're doing, it has been very good. So I'm not expecting us to blindside each other on this. If we need to address that issue, it will get addressed up front, and vice versa. If, they think, hey, wait, this has to happen that way, well then, we'll take it into a separate session. But at this point, I appreciate the open communication that all of us, Board of Health and Engineering and Dave have, been able to have, so that we can address things like you just brought up. Very important.
Appreciate the answer. Thank you.
Do you have any questions, since you're here, about 266, which is on the agenda tonight?
No, because I know that's a much smaller scale. But he brought up the other one, so I can't.
Well, I
I'm
just wanted
just asking, since we're
to
here, we
maybe get a
have.
little
Throwing some
deflection.
time, yeah.
Kill some time and get some deflection out of the way for,
Yeah.
both projects. And, Pam said she drives a Cooper, so hopefully she'll be here as fast as possible,
Things handle like go-karts.
So, and I apologize. For us to be able to vote tonight on 266, which I could be wrong, but you're the neighbor?
I am.
Okay,
To
so,
the south, yeah.
Dave will be recusing himself because, you know, of Grow 58.
Okay.
So in order to get a vote, we need Pam and Candace to at least be here. And Pam was running late, but said, I will rush and I will get there because we were trying to see if at least a vote can be made tonight.
Absolutely.
And if there's anything you wanna,
I will never.
give us or do, I'm Bob, by the way. I haven't met you.
Yeah, Mike Peasy,
Hi, Mike.
254, direct abutter to the
Yes.
property. And, you know, I've had conversations with the planning board and the conservation, and, you know, I know this isn't considered wetlands, but family's been there 50 years, and it is wetland. I know that for a fact. You know, water from this property at 266 flows right into my backyard and does every spring. I've had conversations with, you know, Dave and different committees, and I just want to let you know that, you know, this is a huge, massive project around next to my property, and I need to make sure that I don't have any issues down the road. And, you know,
Well,
That's where
our lane,
what's that?
our lane on the water end of things
Yeah.
is that the septic
Right.
isn't gonna add anything to, you know, to yours.
Okay.
So, planning, Concom, you know,
Yeah.
that's where your questions really get answered. Our board just makes sure that we're protecting human health, that the environment is safe, we've got barriers around it, we know the exact, you know, footage that it can drain at, so even in high water levels, which you're absolutely right, I have been there in January trying to do a perk test and that didn't work well. But I've been there in May and it almost turned into the Sahara. So it's gonna fluctuate on you or on us,
Right.
and we'll just ensure that the septic is right. And certainly take into any of your considerations. Especially with the drip system, the effluent, well, actually almost all septic systems, unless you do something really, really wrong, it goes down. It doesn't break out sideways or breaks out straight up through your septic tank. So that the flows from that system should not increase your, the groundwater levels there. They're already, and they run like crazy through there.
Yes, they do.
They must, I mean, when we found the weeping weeping is standing water, it was almost like an underground river that was actually going not towards Monpont. It was coming off of Joe's property and heading down the road that way.
I can
somewhere.
see your concern.
Yeah.
I know your concern, because Joe's property already pitches that way.
Correct.
So now I know how you're feeling, it's gonna pitch again.
It is.
Yep.
So
So you have to recuse yourself.
that's, I know what he's talking about. I'm there, I know.
Yeah.
But to Bob's point, unfortunately, the
That's
question
not us,
for
right.
us is the septic safe and reasonable?
Right.
Okay.
Which we will
And retaining walls.
vote on as soon as Pam gets.
Where is the weeping on that? Without,
Which test pit?
on average?
Well, on average, how about, on average, it can go anywhere from 33 to 50.
I'd even think it would be 33. I was actually kind of surprised.
Things can go in there.
I think we had one, the system's on it at like 30. But when we first started parking in this area, we were actually up in the corner of your driveway,
Okay.
okay? And that area wasn't quite, it actually wasn't too bad, but that was also closer to the road. Then we got into the middle a little bit and then over to there, so, yeah, there was a lot of differences.
Right. well, exactly where the garage is going there, was literally underwater all of April, all of May, that whole area,
Wow.
you know, so,
The garage, okay,
the 12-car garage,
okay,
which is 6 feet from my property line, so,
wow.
yeah.
Well, we don't approve or disapprove garages, I came through.
But I assume they put storm drains, I mean, I understand that's not this board's, but I would assume they would put storm drains in, correct? To catch the runoff, and then pitch the, the parking lots, if you will, to go into that?
So, after, just general rule of thumb of how it should work is, planning says, okay, this is good. Concom is new construction, so they get next crack, okay? Once they tell us what they want, we ensure that the septic gets built in accordance with that. And if there's gonna be a deviation from what they said, then the company would have to go back to those boards. But otherwise, if they stay right within, the orders of Concom and the grades of planning, it shouldn't have to go back to any of those boards. Because the only way that they'll get an occupancy permit is going to be through the building department. But building will not give an occupancy permit till we say the septic is okay to go. So, I mean, in the big picture of things, we don't have to have a long evolved process and stuff. Have the boards that get first crack at it, do their due diligence, tell us what they want, we'll make sure it happens, and building can do their thing, and I'll sign off on a certificate of compliance, and building will sign off on an occupancy. And it should be pretty quick. That's, when somebody puts a in-law on their house, it goes like that, yeah, this is a bigger project. I'm maybe comparing apples to oranges, but the whole process should work relatively quickly.
So, since we're having general discussion about this, when is the date to put the quote-unquote nail in the ground? Like, when's the startup date on this project?
Has to be approved first.
Once we get
Yeah, I
Right.
didn't know if there
once
was
we get our
a
permits.
I know there was a projected start
When's
date.
Pam gonna be here?
Yeah.
Well, no, now I'm
Extra.
curious, when it's supposed
It's,
to.
it's literally when we get all our permits that we're gonna start. So, for both sides of the street.
Yeah, I mean,
But, I mean, our building plans are all done and all that stuff at this point.
the rooms and, it's building code. You just go in and they handle that. If there's gonna be any rental units out
No.
of it,
No, we're in.
from like if somebody owns it, so you buy
No rentals, that's
the condo or?
What's that? They're all condominiums, they're all market
Right,
rates.
so I bought the condo,
Yeah,
then I decide to rent it to somebody 55 or older.
yeah. The trustees, which is me right now, that has to approve it. And you can't
Perfect.
have, and there's no short-term rentals.
Okay, good.
So
And
if you have,
because
if you get the PGA at the local golf course, they're not gonna make any money off their units.
right, and because I'm the one who also goes in and does the inspection, the housing inspection, to
Oh.
ensure that any tenant who moves in or moves out gets into a place that's
Oh,
proper. Yeah, by code, and when they leave, it's by code, because either the tenant or the landlord's responsible for maintaining the housing code.
right. It doesn't happen very often.
No, not in
There's
55
no
and
affordable-
older.
There's no affordable units either.
Right.
As opposed to condo docs, if there's no renting allowed?
No, you can rent it, you just can't have short-term rentals. I think it has to be a minimum of 6 months long, so.
And the,
Whole little.
some of the 40B projects that I've been involved in other towns. That's
Well, she came with anyways.
constant turnover.
Yes,
And
yes, definitely.
So, it's,
Ours, we have a
Yeah.
40B in Canton, it's market rate, it's not,
Just in case.
it's for sale, it's not rental, but it's been, I'm trying to think in 4 years, maybe
It's split,
3 resales out of 180 units, something like that, it's not.
pretty
But
good.
there's a little
Yeah.
Hey, look who's here.
So sorry. Oh
Welcome.
my gosh. I've been on vacation since last week and
Thank you
lost
for
track of
coming.
time.
Come
Hi,
on
Pam
down. Lucky for you, we've taken care of the entire meeting, except for 266 month
Oh
haunted.
my gosh.
Okay, so, board member Dave Hatch is a direct abutter, his business to 266, so he is going to recuse himself from this vote. So that leaves Pam and I to vote on the local upgrades and variances request for 266 Monpont Street. Pam and I both had the opportunity to meet with Bob this week to go over the system, ask questions. Do you have any further questions for the engineer?
I don't. I think Bob and I went through everything.
Right,
and
and
all the
I
questions there.
did also, I had mentioned at our last meeting that we'd actually, could set a precedent with this variance. Unbeknownst to me, once I checked into our own systems, that in fact in 2016, we granted both variances and local upgrades. And as recently as with the former board, February 19th of 2020, the specific variance that they're requesting, which is the 15.225, we granted for Thompson Street, 59 Thompson.
Right.
So the precedent's already there. We'd have to break precedent, and I would ratify this plan, but you're the voting board.
Yeah.
Okay. I know there are a lot of concerns and opinions on this project throughout the town, but the question before this board is if this septic system request for a variance is reasonable and safe for the health of the public. As I said, Pam and I both did some individual research this week. We met with Bob. As Bob just stated, we have already made similar variances for this type of system. I think it's also important, Bob, we talked about quarterly inspections, right, that this type of system will have.
So yes, this system, well, they don't have a choice because there will be a deed restriction on the property with the, you have to file with DEP and get your, your reports into me, not you, but, the company that will be handling it, so, yep.
And that being said, Bob, I know you also reached out to the health agent in West Bridgewater where we discussed there's a similar system. They've had no issues with that. The agent there said that they have had not had any issues. And as you said, we've already granted this variance to projects within town.
And they granted basically the exact same variance. We, in doing just that one variance, which we started with more than one, okay?
Yep.
Knocked them all down. We have definitely been able to achieve maximum feasible compliance with Title V. So,
Okay. And again, that is the question before this board, is the septic and the septic alone. So that being said, I would motion to approve local upgrades and variances for 266 Monpont Street as stated on the agenda.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
thank you for waiting.
That completes the meeting. Can I get a motion to adjourn the Halifax Board of Health meeting for September 4th at 7:11 p.m.?
So moved.
All in favor? Aye.